The night was quiet, only the sound of leaves moving in the wind. A man named Daniel walked slowly through the dark forest with his loyal dog, a strong shepherd named Max. Daniel liked to walk here when the world felt heavy. The trees gave him peace, and Max gave him company. But that night something felt different. The air smelled strange, almost like burned metal. Max lifted his ears, growled low, and pulled Daniel toward a hidden path. Daniel followed, his heart beating faster. The deeper they went, the stranger the light became. Ahead of them, between broken trees, there was a glow. It was not fire, and it was not moonlight. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Max barked once and stopped. Daniel held his breath. When they reached the clearing, Daniel froze. In front of him was wreckage, twisted metal glowing faint blue, pieces scattered across the ground like shattered glass. It looked like no human machine. Smoke rose into the sky, and the air hummed like static. Daniel's hands shook. His dog growled louder, but stayed close. Then he heard it, a soft sound, weak and broken. It was not a machine. It was a voice. Daniel pushed aside part of the wreckage, and there, lying on the ground, was a girl. She did not look human. Her skin shimmered with pale silver. Her hair glowed faintly like starlight. Her eyes, half open, were deep violet. She breathed in short, painful gasps. Her body was wounded, glowing cuts across her arms and chest. She was dying. Daniel stepped back, fear rushing through his mind. Was she dangerous? Was this a trap? Max moved forward first, nose close, tail low but steady. The girl's hand twitched weakly, trying to touch the dog. Daniel's heart softened. He saw fear in her eyes, but also hope. She whispered something, words in a language he could not understand. Her voice cracked, but the tone was clear. She was asking for help. He knelt beside her. The heat of her skin was strange, almost electric. Max pressed against Daniel's side, watching the girl closely. Daniel thought of leaving, thought of calling someone, but deep inside, he knew the truth. If he left her here, she would die. And if others found her, maybe they would hurt her. He whispered to himself, I cannot just walk away. Carefully, he slid his arms under her. She was lighter than he expected, almost weightless. Her head rested against his shoulder, and she coughed weakly, glowing blood on her lips. Max barked once, as if telling him to hurry. Together they left the wreckage, Daniel looking back only once at the broken ship glowing like a wound in the forest. The walk home was long. Every step he feared someone would see. Every sound in the night made him tense. Max stayed alert, ears turning to every shadow. At last, they reached his small cabin near the edge of the woods. He pushed the door open, laid her gently on the couch. Max sat near her feet, guarding like a soldier. Daniel tried to clean her wounds, but the cuts were not like human wounds. They pulsed with strange light. His hands shook. He did not know what he was doing, but he could not stop. For a moment her eyes opened wider. She looked at him, then at the dog, and a faint smile touched her lips. She whispered again, this time softer, almost like a thank you. Daniel sat back, sweat on his forehead. His life had changed in one night. He had rescued something beyond this world, and he had no idea what would happen next. Outside, far above the forest, unseen to him, lights moved in the sky, other ships searching. The cabin was silent, except for the sound of the alien girl's breathing. It was uneven, shallow, each breath like a struggle. Daniel sat beside her, his hands trembling. Max stayed close, his sharp eyes moving between her and the door, guarding like a loyal soldier. Daniel had no medic. All tools, only an old first aid kit. He tried to wrap her wounds, but every bandage glowed faint blue as if her body rejected human material. The light pulsed under her skin, flickering like lightning trapped in flesh. It scared him, but at the same time it fascinated him. She opened her violet eyes again, weak but focused. She whispered words he could not understand. Her hand reached out, touching Daniel's arm. A jolt of warmth spread through him, not painful, but powerful. For a moment, he felt her fear, her loneliness, her desperate hope. He pulled back, gasping. Max barked once, low and cautious. The girl turned her head toward the dog, her lips curved faintly, a smile of gratitude. She whispered something again, the sound soft and broken, but Daniel thought he recognized one word, protector. She was calling the dog protector. Outside the window, the night was no longer silent. The forest carried strange sounds like engines humming far above. Daniel rushed to the window, heart pounding. In the sky, distant shapes moved, dark against the stars. They were searching, he was sure of it. Fear struck him. If they found her here, what would they do to her? What would they do to him, to Earth? He closed the curtains, breathing hard. The girl's eyes followed his every move. She understood the danger. Her hand trembled, glowing faintly. She pressed her palm to her chest, then pointed upward. Daniel shook his head. No, I will not give you to them. His voice was quiet but firm. Hours passed slowly. Each second felt heavy. Daniel gave her water. She sipped carefully, her eyes never leaving his. Max lay at her side, resting, but alert. The cabin felt like a fragile shield against the universe outside. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A deep rumble shook the walls. Daniel's heart raced. He looked out again. Lights flashed in the distant sky, sharp beams cutting through the forest as if searching every tree. The girl sat up weakly. Her body shook, but her hand glowed brighter. She touched the wooden wall, and for a moment, the cabin shimmered as if wrapped in invisible light. Daniel stepped back in shock. She was shielding them, hiding them. Max growled, ears flat. The beams of light passed over the cabin, moving slowly, searching. Daniel held his breath. The alien girl's glow flickered, sweat on her silver skin, but the shield held. After long minutes, the beams faded away. The rumble softened. Silence returned. Daniel collapsed into the chair, his heart still racing. Max licked the girl's hand gently, as if thanking her. She smiled again, her violet eyes dimming. She had saved them, even in her broken state. Daniel realized something deeper. This was no ordinary accident, no simple crash. Someone was hunting her. They would not stop. He looked at her, fragile but strong, dying but still fighting. He felt a weight in his chest. He had made a choice the moment he carried her from the wreckage. He was part of this now. The girl leaned closer, whispering with the last of her strength. Her voice cracked, but this time Daniel understood one clear word: run. The dog barked loud, sharp. Daniel turned his head to the door. In the distance, footsteps crunched over dry leaves, not human footsteps, heavy and metallic like machines walking. Daniel grabbed the girl's arm gently, helping her up. His mind screamed, fear burning. Max stood ready, teeth bared. The hunt had reached his doorstep. As he opened the back door of the cabin, a bright red light cut through the window behind him. A strange voice echoed outside, metallic, cold, searching. Daniel whispered to himself, "We have to survive this night." And with that, man, dog, and alien girl slipped into the dark forest once again. The weight of the universe chasing them. The forest was dark, cold air pressing against their skin. Daniel carried the alien girl close to his chest while Max stayed ahead, ears sharp, tail stiff. His dog was not just guiding, he was warning, every growl showing danger was near. The light pulsed under her skin, flickering like lightning trapped in flesh. It scared him, but at the same time it fascinated him. She opened her violet eyes again, weak but focused. She whispered words he could not understand. Her hand reached out, touching Daniel's arm. A jolt of warmth spread through him, not painful, but powerful. For a moment, he felt her fear, her loneliness, her desperate hope. He pulled back, gasping. Max barked once, low and cautious. The girl turned her head toward the dog, her lips curved faintly, a smile of gratitude. She whispered something again, the sound soft and broken, but Daniel thought he recognized one word: protector. She was calling the dog protector. Outside the window, the night was no longer silent. The forest carried strange sounds like engines humming far above. Daniel rushed to the window, heart pounding. In the sky, distant shapes moved, dark against the stars. They were searching, he was sure of it. Fear struck him. If they found her here, what would they do to her? What would they do to him, to Earth? He closed the curtains, breathing hard. The girl's eyes followed his every move. She understood the danger. Her hand trembled, glowing faintly. She pressed her palm to her chest, then pointed upward. Daniel shook his head. No, I will not give you to them. His voice was quiet but firm. Hours passed slowly. Each second felt heavy. Daniel gave her water. She sipped carefully, her eyes never leaving his. Max lay at her side, resting, but alert. The cabin felt like a fragile shield against the universe outside. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A deep rumble shook the walls. Daniel's heart raced. He looked out again. Lights flashed in the distant sky, sharp beams cutting through the forest as if searching every tree. The girl sat up weakly. Her body shook, but her hand glowed brighter. She touched the wooden wall, and for a moment, the cabin shimmered as if wrapped in invisible light. Daniel stepped back in shock. She was shielding them, hiding them. Max growled, ears flat. The beams of light passed over the cabin, moving slowly, searching. Daniel held his breath. The alien girl's glow flickered, sweat on her silver skin, but the shield held. After long minutes, the beams faded away. The rumble softened. Silence returned. Daniel collapsed into the chair, his heart still racing. Max licked the girl's hand gently, as if thanking her. She smiled again, her violet eyes dimming. She had saved them, even in her broken state. Daniel realized something deeper. This was no ordinary accident, no simple crash. Someone was hunting her. They would not stop. He looked at her, fragile but strong, dying but still fighting. He felt a weight in his chest. He had made a choice the moment he carried her from the wreckage. He was part of this now. The girl leaned closer, whispering with the last of her strength. Her voice cracked, but this time Daniel understood one clear word: run. The dog barked loud, sharp. Daniel turned his head to the door. In the distance, footsteps crunched over dry leaves, not human footsteps, heavy and metallic like machines walking. Daniel grabbed the girl's arm gently, helping her up. His mind screamed, fear burning. Max stood ready, teeth bared. The hunt had reached his doorstep. As he opened the back door of the cabin, a bright red light cut through the window behind him. A strange voice echoed outside, metallic, cold, searching. Daniel whispered to himself, "We have to survive this night." And with that, man, dog, and alien girl slipped into the dark forest once again. The weight of the universe chasing them. The forest was dark, cold air pressing against their skin. Daniel carried the alien girl close to his chest while Max stayed ahead, ears sharp, tail stiff. His dog was not just guiding, he was warning, every growl showing danger was near. Behind them, strange red lights moved between the trees. Shadows stretched unnaturally long. Heavy steps echoed, not like human soldiers, but like machines walking with deadly purpose. Daniel's heart pounded. He had no plan, only instinct. Run, survive, protect. The girl shivered in his arms. Her silver skin was dim now, her violet eyes half closed. She whispered weak words. Daniel could not understand all of them, but he felt their weight. She was begging him not to give up. At last they reached an old cave near the river. Daniel ducked inside. Max followed, teeth bared. The cave was damp, filled with dripping water and silence. He placed her gently on the ground. Her body glowed faintly in the darkness, like a fallen star. Daniel sat beside her, trying to catch his breath. He looked at Max. "We cannot keep running forever, boy." The dog growled softly, agreeing. His eyes locked on the cave entrance. The girl touched the ground, her hand leaving faint glowing marks on the stone. A circle of light formed around her. Daniel stared, confused. She whispered words again, her voice weak but clearer. Slowly, slowly, the meaning reached him. She was trying to speak his language. Her lips moved carefully. Safe. Here. For now. Daniel blinked, shocked. She could understand him. She had been listening, learning. Her violet eyes opened wider, holding his gaze. "They want me dead," she said slowly, each word heavy. "My people betrayed me." The cave felt colder. Daniel leaned closer. "Betrayed you, why?" Her eyes filled with sorrow. "I carry knowledge, forbidden, power. They fear it. They hunt me. I escaped. But ship broken." She coughed, glowing blood staining her lips. Max whined softly, licking her hand as if to comfort her. She smiled faintly at the dog. "Protect her," she whispered again. Daniel's mind raced. He was not dealing with an accident, not with a lost TR. Avler. This girl was part of something far bigger. She was carrying secrets her own kind wanted destroyed. Secrets powerful enough to send hunters across the stars. He felt fear, but also anger. She was just a girl, wounded and alone, and yet they wanted her gone. He clenched his fists. "I will not let them take you." His voice was quiet but firm. The girl's glow brightened for a moment. Her hand touched his chest, and suddenly Daniel felt something strange, a rush of images in his mind. Burning skies, alien armies, a throne of fire, and then her face, crying. Alone in endless darkness, he gasped, pulling back. His heart raced. She had shown him her memories. Max barked sharply, snapping him back. Red lights moved outside the cave, closer now. Heavy steps grew louder. The hunters had not lost the trail. The girl struggled to rise, her legs shaking. Her hands glowed brighter. She whispered, "I can hide. Us." Her voice cracked. Daniel shook his head. "You are too weak." But she insisted, her body trembling. She placed her hands on the stone walls. The cave shimmered like mist rising from water. Outside, the hunters stopped, scanning. Their red lights moved over the entrance but passed by as if the cave was not there. Her power cloaked them, hiding them from sight. Daniel held her shoulders, worried she would collapse. Her glow flickered dangerously. She was sacrificing her strength to keep them safe. He whispered, "Why are you doing this for me? For us?" She looked at him, her voice soft but steady. "Because you chose to help me, when others would run." Her eyes moved to Max. "Because Protector chose to stay." Daniel felt something shift in his chest, something deep and powerful. This was no longer about fear. It was about trust, about loyalty, about a bond stronger than species or worlds. The hunters moved away slowly, their heavy steps fading into the night. The cave grew silent again. The girl collapsed into Daniel's arms, her breathing shallow but her eyes still open. Before she drifted into sleep, she whispered one last warning. "They will not." The night was not their friend anymore. The forest whispered with danger. Daniel felt it in the cold air. Max sensed it in every shadow. And the alien girl felt it deep in her glowing veins. They had escaped the hunters for now, but the silence outside the cave was not peace. It was a warning. Daniel knew they could not stay. If the hunters returned with stronger weapons, no cave would protect them. He lifted the alien girl once again, her body light but trembling. Her violet eyes opened weakly. "Danger. Growing," she whispered. Daniel nodded, his jaw tight. He understood without needing more words. Max stepped out first, sniffing the air. His fur stood on end. He gave a low growl that meant only one thing. Something was already waiting. As they moved deeper into the forest, a new sound filled the air. Not footsteps, not engines, but voices, harsh and metallic. Daniel froze. Ahead, beyond the trees, lights moved like fireflies, but these were not natural. They flickered red and gold, scanning every root, every rock. Daniel crouched low, holding the girl close. Max pressed against his leg, watching. The voices grew louder, words in a language Daniel could not understand, but the tone was clear. The hunters were giving orders. They were tightening their search. The girl touched Daniel's arm, her voice barely audible. "They know my energy. They follow it." She looked at him with fear. "I cannot hide much longer." Daniel's mind raced. If they could track her energy, then moving through the forest was like leaving a trail of fire. They needed to mislead them. He looked at Max, and an idea formed. "Go, boy," he whispered. "Lead them away." Max barked once, sharp and certain. His eyes burned with loyalty. Without hesitation, he ran left, crashing through bushes, barking loud. The sound echoed through the forest. Immediately, the hunters turned. Their red lights sing after him. Daniel held his breath, praying. His dog had just become bait. He carried the girl in the opposite direction, heart pounding. Her weak voice broke the silence. "Protector. Brave," she whispered. Her eyes glistened. She understood Max's sacrifice. For minutes that felt like hours, Daniel ran, the weight of the girl in his arms, the cold air burning his lungs. Behind him, the forest shook with the sound of pursuit. Blaster fire lit up the night. Max's barks echoed farther and farther, drawing danger away. Finally, Daniel stumbled into an old abandoned barn near the edge of the forest. He pushed the doors open and slipped inside. The air was thick with dust, moonlight cutting through broken wood. He laid the girl gently on the hay. She was pale now, her glow faint. Daniel's chest heaved. His body screamed for rest, but his mind screamed louder. Where was Max? Was he still alive? Before he could think more, the barn shuddered. A beam of red light cut across the ground outside. The hunters were circling. He could hear their heavy steps again, closer. The girl sat up weakly. Her hand trembled as she reached for Daniel. "I will fight," she whispered. Her glow flickered dangerously. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. "No, you are too weak. You will die." She shook her head, violet eyes burning. "If I do nothing, we all die." Suddenly the barn door shook violently. Metal claws tore through wood. Daniel's heart froze. They had found them. Max burst in through a side hole, his fur scorched, limping but alive. He growled, teeth bared. His body shook with exhaustion, but his spirit was unbroken. He had returned. The hunters entered behind him, towering figures of metal and shadow, their eyes glowing red, weapons raised, voices cold. The barn filled with deadly light. Daniel stood in front of the girl, fists clenched. Max stood beside him, growling, and behind them, the alien girl rose slowly, her hands glowing brighter than ever before. The hunters stepped closer, but the ground itself began to tremble, the air filled with energy. The girl's voice rang out, strong and fierce. "You will not take me!" The barn exploded with light, blinding and furious. The hunters staggered back, their metal frames shaking. Daniel shielded his eyes. Max barked, a sound of defiance. The girl's glow lit up the night like a star falling to earth. When the light faded, the hunters were gone, scattered, broken. For a moment, silence returned. Only the sound of breathing filled the barn. The girl collapsed into Daniel's arms, her strength spent, her violet eyes half closed. "They will come again," she whispered. "Stronger." Daniel looked at Max, then back at her, his voice low but steady. "Then we will be ready." And in that ruined barn, surrounded by shadows of war, a man, a dog, and an alien girl formed a bond that no force in the galaxy could easily break. The barn was silent after the battle. Dust floated in the air, broken wood scattered across the ground. Daniel leaned against the wall, holding the alien girl close. Max lay beside them, his chest rising and falling fast. His fur was burned in places, but his eyes were sharp, loyal as always. The girl's glow had dimmed. Her silver skin looked pale, her breath shallow. Daniel feared she would fade at any moment. But then her violet eyes opened slowly. She looked at him and whispered, "Thank you." Her voice was soft, but carried a strange strength. Daniel shook his head. "You should save your strength." But she pressed her glowing hand against his chest. A rush of warmth flowed through him. His tired body felt stronger, his pain fading. He gasped, pulling back. "What did you do?" Her lips trembled. "Gift. For your kindness." She touched Max next. Her hand glowed brighter as she pressed it gently against the dog's head. Max whined low, then stood tall, his wounds close. "Sing." His eyes seemed sharper, his muscles stronger. He barked once, the sound deep and powerful. Daniel stared in shock. Max was changed. The girl smiled faintly. "He is protector. Now, more than ever." Daniel knelt beside her, his voice shaking. "Why are you giving this to us? You need your strength. They are coming again." She shook her head. "Without you, I would be gone already. I cannot repay all, but I can share what I carry." Her eyes glowed. "It is not just power. It is knowledge. It is hope." Daniel frowned. "Knowledge? What do you mean?" The girl placed her hands together, a sphere of light forming between them. Inside the glow, images flickered. Vast cities floating in the stars, ships larger than mountains, creatures of shadow-hunting worlds. Then the images shifted. A single human standing tall, a dog at his side, light bursting from their hands. The vision ended as quickly as it came. Daniel staggered back, breathing hard. "What was that?" Her voice grew weaker. "Your future. If you choose it, my people forgot kindness, forgot loyalty. But you reminded me, humanity can hold what we lost." Max barked sharply, his body tense. Daniel turned toward the broken wall. His stomach dropped. Red lights flickered again in the forest. More hunters, stronger than before, marching straight toward them. Daniel's voice was firm. "You need to rest. You cannot fight again. The girl shook her head, her glow rising slowly. No, this is my fight too. She raised her hands, but Daniel stopped her. Not alone. His eyes met hers, steady. You gave us your gift. Now we fight together. Max growled deep, his body glowing faintly with the energy she had given him. He stepped forward, ready. Daniel clenched his fists, his muscles no longer weak. The warmth she shared burned inside him, courage filling his veins. The barn doors burst open. Hunters entered, larger too. Han before. Their bodies shimmered with armor like black stone. Their weapons pulsed with red fire. Voices echoed, metallic and merciless. Daniel stood tall in front of the girl, Max at his side. For the first time, he did not feel like prey. He felt like a warrior. The girl's eyes widened, seeing the fire in him. Yes, she whispered. This is what I saw. The hunters raised their weapons. The air crackled with danger. But before they could fire, Max leaped forward with inhuman speed. His body slammed into the first hunter, sparks flying. Daniel charged, his fists glowing faintly. He struck another, the force sending it crashing into the wall. The girl lifted her hands, her glow rising again. She created a shield that wrapped around them, deflecting deadly blasts. Her body shook, but she kept it strong. Her voice echoed, together. For the first time, the hunters stepped back, their cold eyes flickering with something new. Hesitation. They had expected weakness, not resistance. Daniel panted, his body shaking, but he stood tall. Max growled, his teeth dripping with sparks. The girl leaned against the wall, her glow dimming, but her eyes burning bright. The hunters retreated into the night, disappearing into the trees, their voices cold but uncertain. Daniel knew they would return, stronger and angrier. He looked at the girl. They are afraid of you. She shook her head slowly. Not me. Us. Daniel sat beside her. Max lay close, the fire of battle still burning in their hearts. They were no longer just survivors. They were something greater, bound by trust, by sacrifice, by the gift she had given. And as the night grew silent again, Daniel realized the truth. This was only the beginning. The night did not rest. The forest trembled with every gust of wind. Daniel sat inside the broken barn, his fists still glowing faintly from the gift the alien girl had given him. Max lay close, his breathing steady, his eyes sharper than before, and the girl leaned weakly against the wall, her silver skin glowy. Softly, her violet eyes dim but unbroken. Daniel knew the hunters would return. This time they would not send only scouts. They would come in force. He clenched his hands, his voice low. They want war, Max growled, a deep sound that echoed in the silence. The girl whispered, yes, they want to erase me, and anyone who protects me. As if her words were a summons, the ground began to shake. Heavy footsteps thundered in the distance, trees cracked, birds fled the forest in a storm of wings, red lights filled the horizon, dozens of them. The hunters were coming. Daniel stood tall, his fear was still there, but something else was stronger now. The warmth of her gift burned inside him like fire. Max rose to his feet, his body glowing faintly, ready. The girl pushed herself up, her hands trembling but glowing brighter. She looked at Daniel. This is the moment. The hunters appeared at the edge of the field, towering machines of black armor, their eyes burning red, their weapons glowed with deadly light. This was no small squad, this was an army. The barn shook as they surrounded it, a voice echoed metallic and cold. Surrender the traitor, or be destroyed. Daniel looked at the girl. She shook her head. They will not stop even if I surrender. Her eyes locked on him. We must fight. Daniel's jaw tightened. He turned to Max. Are you ready, boy? Max barked once, his body low, teeth bared. His loyalty was unshakable. The hunters opened fire. Red blasts tore through the barn. Wood exploded, flames rising. But the girl raised her hands, a shield of light wrapping around them. The beams hit and scattered. The air shook with power. Daniel charged forward, the shield opening just enough for him and Max. His fists burned with strange energy, stronger than before. He slammed into the first hunter, the force breaking its chest plate. Sparks flew as the machine carapace. Apst, Max leaped onto another, his jaws glowing with energy as he tore through metal. The hunters roared, their voices like thunder. More blasts came, shaking the ground. The girl held the shield, but her body trembled, sweat glowing on her silver skin. Daniel fought like a storm, each strike fueled by her gift and his own courage. He was no longer just a man. He was something more. But the hunters were many. For every one they struck down, two more appeared. The barn was gone now, only fire and ash. The forest burned red. The night turned into a battlefield. Daniel's body ached. Max bled from new wounds. The girl's shield flickered. She fell to her knees, whispering, "I cannot hold it much longer." A massive hunter stepped forward, larger than all the rest. Its armor was black stone, its weapon glowing like a star. Its voice echoed, "End this." Daniel staggered, his fists shaking. He was exhausted, but when he looked at Max, standing tall despite the pain, and at the girl, still fighting despite her weakness, something ignited in him. He roared, charging straight at the giant. The hunter swung its weapon, but Daniel blocked it with glowing arms. The force threw him back, but he did not fall. Max leaped onto the hunter's leg, biting, tearing, sparks exploding. The girl screamed, her hands glowing brighter than ever. She poured her last strength into Daniel and Max. For one moment they were united. Man, dog, and alien girl, three hearts beating as one. The power surged. Daniel's fists blazed like suns. Max's bark roared like thunder. The girl's light spread across the battlefield. Together they struck, Daniel's blow shattering the giant's chest, Max ripping through its armor, the girl's energy exploding outward. The giant hunter fell, its body crashing into the earth like a mountain breaking. The other hunters froze, their red eyes flickering. For the first time they hesitated. The bond of one human, one dog, and one alien had broken their CE, or tainty. But the girl collapsed, her glow fading fast. Daniel caught her, his heart racing. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I gave too much." Her eyes fluttered. "Protect each other." Daniel shouted her name, though he never truly knew it. Max pressed against her side, whining low. The hunters retreated into the shadows, their voices cold. This is not the end. The battlefield grew silent, only fire crackling in the dark. Daniel held the girl, tears burning his eyes. Max rested beside him, their bodies broken but their spirits unyielding. The war was not over, but something had changed. Humanity had shown its strength, and the galaxy would soon learn it. The battlefield was quiet now, only smoke rising into the night sky. The hunters were gone, retreating into the dark forest. But Daniel knew they would come back, stronger than before. He sat in the ashes of the ruined barn, holding the alien girl in his arms. Max lay beside them, his fur stained but his spirit unbroken. The girl's glow was faint, barely there. Her violet eyes opened slowly, filled with both pain and peace. Daniel whispered, "Stay with us, please." His voice cracked, his hands trembled as he held her closer. She touched his chest weakly, her silver fingers glowing faintly. "I cannot," she whispered. "I gave too much." Her breathing grew weaker. Max whimpered softly, pressing his head against her hand. She smiled faintly. "Protector, loyal until the end." Daniel shook his head. "No, you will live. I will not let you go." But deep inside, he felt the truth. She was fading. Her eyes locked on his, burning with something stronger than fear. "Then I will give you one last gift," she whispered. Her hands glowed brighter, though her body shook. "My knowledge, my strength, my gratitude." Before Daniel could speak, her glow spread outward, wrapping around him and Max like warm fire. Images rushed into his mind again. Galaxies spinning, worlds rising and falling, wars fought in silence of space. He saw humans standing tall among alien empires, their courage shaking the stars, and he saw himself and Max not just as survivors, but as symbols, protectors of something greater than themselves. Daniel gasped, the warmth filling his veins. His tired body surged with new strength. Max barked once, his body glowing brighter, muscles stronger. His eyes shone like twin stars. They were no longer the same. The girl's glow faded. Her body turned almost transparent. Her violet eyes softened as she whispered, "Thank you for kindness. No one else gave. For reminding me what loyalty means." Daniel felt tears burn his eyes. He gripped her hand. "Don't leave us." She smiled, her voice soft as the wind. "I am not leaving. I will live in you." With that, her body dissolved into light, a shower of silver dust rising into the sky. The glow spread across the stars, vanishing slowly. The forest grew quiet, the night deep. Daniel sat still, his arms empty, his heart heavy. Max pressed against him, eyes fixed on the glowing trail in the sky. Together they watched until the last spark disappeared. The silence broke with a whisper inside Daniel's mind. It was her voice, gentle and clear. Humanity has been chosen. His breath caught. He looked at Max, and in his dog's eyes he saw the same truth. They both heard it. For a long time, they sat in silence. The forest felt different now, alive, as if watching them. The hunters would return. Daniel knew it. The war was far from over, but something had changed forever. He stood slowly, Max at his side. Their bodies carried wounds, but their spirits burned with new strength. The warmth of her gift still flowed inside them. Dan. Isle clenched his fists, his voice steady. "We will protect this world, no matter the cost," Max barked, a sound fierce and proud. Above them the stars shone brighter, almost as if the universe itself had heard the vow. Daniel took his first step into the future, not as a man running from danger, but as a man chosen to face it. And at his side was Max, no longer just a dog, but a guardian. Together, they carried the last gift of a dying alien girl, a gift beyond belief, and somewhere, far beyond the stars, her people would one day learn what humanity truly was. Not weak, not prey, but something stronger, something their empire had forgotten, a bond of loyalty, kindness, and courage that no power could erase. The night closed around them, but Daniel did not feel fear anymore. He felt purpose. He felt destiny. The battle for humanity's place among the stars had begun.